Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Rewriters of History. A couple of announcements. First of all, the other game that we have that is in the same setting with the Game Master Jeremy is out on the channel right now. It's called War for the Light. It's happening at the same time, and it's with other characters that are doing their own thing in another part of the universe, but the two games are going to start interacting, and we're still looking for other players for the third game, but I'm going to start it next week, so the video will be up really soon. It will be called The Lion's Share. It will be about spies and an assassin that's killing the richest people in America one by one. So if you're interested, go check it out. And third of all, we have our first piece of fan art by Stefan. I'm going to put it on the screen.
Hey!
It's really important for me that we have like fan art coming in. If anybody else who's a fan of the show wants to send something in, I will gladly put it on screen, or just if you don't want to have it put it on screen, just not leave it. Just not.
Yeah. Nonetheless, if you make it and you want to show us, I'll probably cry over it. I love fan art so much.
I'm not a fan, I'm a player. Never mind.
It still counts as fan art.
Because it's like you drew people that we made up.
Yeah.
It's cool to see my character designed in somebody else's head.
Yeah, and my drawings, I'm the game master. It's not fan art when I'm just preparing for the game and stuff. You didn't need to do it. That's the difference.
I'm getting it.
Also, by the way, Theo, whenever you make that video about soup with the faces, that's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for that. Okay.
Man.
Cool.
Oh man.
All right. So, your characters are in the darkness of the catacombs. You have found torches that you have lit, and you are finding your way through this dark maze. And as you run through the street, and you're finally done catching your breath, and it's in that moment that Isabelle Tars, who's been accompanying you all this way, decides to ask, so what is up with all of you? You've been acting weird and talking in English, and I'm pretty sure you don't all know English. What's up with you today?
That is a complicated question that deserves a complicated answer. Nothing, though, that you should immediately worry about. It is just our own troubles that we're processing.
I know it's difficult, and I know we're a lot of pressure because the Hermes are hunting us down, but we have to stay focused. When we finally find the skull, we will have borne the fruits of years of research. So if we find it today, it's going to be big for us.
You're absolutely right. Yes, need to remember to try and somehow stay focused on the task at hand.
You had already rolled to find your way through the maze, so there's no problem with that.
Thank God.
The deeper you go, the less silent the catacombs become. In fact, you're pretty sure you can hear some sort of chanting coming from many throats from deeper within the catacombs. And when you turn the corner, you find this large hall carved into the mud and rock that looks like a chapel.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a bonfire in the center, and there are hooded figures chanting around the bonfire. And over the bonfire is a human carcass getting cooked by the fire. And in the back, there's an altar. And on the top of this altar is a skull. And if anybody wants to make a clairvoyance check, it will reveal some stuff to your characters.
Yeah, I would like to do
I can try it.
Or
Is it
either...
+3?
Yeah.
Let's try.
Okay. So both of you succeed. Both of you see a glow of light karma coming from the skull. And it has alchemical symbols on it. Alchemical symbols used mostly by the Neo-Hermes and the Hermes. So you think this is it. You think you have found the skull of Albert the Great.
Can we do something to recognize the chants or the ritual, maybe?
Yes, it's a roll for the 8. Also, you feel with your clairvoyance, Philip, you're the one to notice it because you have a higher score.
I have a 24 because to...
Oh, yes, absolutely, absolutely. So you both see it. You both feel that the hooded figures, they have, under their hoods, they have lines on their bodies that glow hot and warm, and you can perceive that through the clairvoyance from underneath their robes. And different people have different lines on their bodies at different places. Okay, so ones will have lines only on their arms, others will have lines only on their necks and face, and some will only have lines on their chest.
Interesting.
I will roll that D8 roll. So,
Go ahead.
Ooh, 21.
21, perfect. Okay, the chanting and this ritual in particular is a ritual of the Devoured, one of the 8 that is the weirdest after the living. The powers of the Devoured are powers that have to do with sacrifice, scarification, and consuming your enemy's powers through cannibalism. And right now, this is the ritual that they're doing. This is an enemy that they have captured, and they are about to engage in a feast to grow their powers. You also know that the Devoured worship a dead god that was dismembered at the beginning of time, and they are trying to find the pieces of that god and reassemble it. And the fact that there is a mystical skull in their altar means that they probably think that the skull of Albert the Great is one of their relics, one of the pieces of that god.
Interesting.
And how do they treat the Trinity?
Well, usually they have a barbecue with those two.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah. It is very powerful. Yeah. How many people are there?
There are 12 devoured, and the person leading the chanting has marks of scars over her, but you don't see her face. Yeah.
Are they like mapped?
It's shadowy, like it's in the catacombs. There's this big fire.
That makes sense.
Do we recognize in the ritual who will receive the power of the consumed one?
It's a group ritual. It's one of the only 2 group rituals that they have where they all eat they all consume the person who's been cooked.
The person is dead, right?
The person is already dead and is
dismembered, right?
Yeah, already cut into pieces and being cooked. But it's definitely a humanoid figure.
Good point. Do we want to try and cut off this ritual, or do we want to let it run its course and then go and take the skull afterwards?
Well, there is.
I feel like it'd be best to cut it off so prevent them from gaining more power. It's just a matter of how.
I'm not sure if the skull will remain there after the ritual or they take it with them. So that's my only concern. I will not interrupt it otherwise.
Yes. Yeah, my concerns are losing the skull and having this group gain more power because I already feel nervous about what they might be capable of. I don't want to put us in even more risk by intruding on their place after they've finished this.
We already have the other group that run after us, so one group at a time is enough, I think.
I will look around. Is this the only enter and exit of this room, or there are other?
There are 4 different entrances to the chapel at the 4 corners. So right now you are towards the entrance. You're near the wall that is opposite where the skull is on display.
One question: did we have an hour rest before we went down?
It's been 2 hours. So if you have any 2 bruised wounds are gone. Also, just one thing real quick. The hour of sunset is starting, which means that you, during this entire hour, you're regenerating dark karma. But from here on, any attempts to use clairvoyance is just going to end up in a headache. Okay?
Okay.
So you all regenerate your dark karma, and you can still use dark verses throughout this moment.
I'm pretty badly wounded, so yeah.
Oh.
And I'm out of the light karma, but I only have 1. So I will, I don't know, advise us to wait and see if they will spread out. Or...
Mr. Douglas, how are you holding up?
Physically?
Yes. How would you feel if we were to perhaps engage in another fight? How well do you think you would fare?
I'm good with guns. Other than that, I'm not a fighter.
So
Yeah, I have.
you're not going to interrupt the ritual then.
Isabel Tars says, Mr. Douglas? Maria, why did you answer when Master Flamel called you Mr. Douglas?
Just,
It's an inside joke based off of an old project we worked on.
Oh, okay. I'm not judging
Trying
you.
to keep the mood light. Apologies.
I'm not judging you. I just that seemed like a weird thing to call you, Maria.
yeah,
And-
in my head, I'm saying I'm happy that she didn't note that we talk about guns, but
Yeah.
Yeah, guns didn't scare her. It's just the fact that I called you Mr. Douglas that scared her.
I don't know if gunpowder was invented yet. It's okay because Joan of Arc is really soon, and Joan of Arc still does the whole thing with her having a sword. So yeah, she's really confused about the entire conversation.
yeah, I could try to sneak and take the skull, but I think it will be difficult. But I'm good in stealthing if it's an alternative.
As you say this, the chanting stops.
Oh,
The buckets of water are thrown onto the fire, which still glows in embers, but that diminishes the light, and the Devoured start to move in towards the corpse and start tearing pieces of it with their hands and stuffing it in their mouths.
If you want to try and perhaps sneak it out while they're busy feasting, that might work, but you have to be really sure of yourself in this, because if something goes wrong, we're not okay.
Yeah, I will take a quick look in this corridor that we are in. Is there any places we can hide if somebody goes through it?
There are coffins lining the walls, so if you don't mind sharing the space with the bodies that are inside, you could hide in these.
What would be the negative on the stealth roll?
No negative, you're just rolling against the vigilance of the Devoured. They have thrown off their hoods to start eating, and you can see that their leader looks like this. She has rich clothing under her hood, suggesting nobility or bourgeoisie.
What part of her body is covered with
The torso. The torso had red
Light
lights.
of power, yeah, or whatever.
I can try. I don't think it will be that difficult.
Go ahead and roll for stealth.
Nothing. Just gonna roll.
You got this.
Do I need to beat 31?
I'm not telling you until after you roll.
Oh no!
I'm not gonna take the roll into consideration. I was about to take efficacy and risk, so I'm still gonna take it because it's what I was planning to do.
Nice.
God.
Oh!
Holy shit!
That's
Holy shit!
good. Okay. So do you take the light side or do you take the light dice or the darkness dice?
Absolutely the dark side. No light.
Right. Well, since you ask.
So you sneak past them. You are able to sneak up to the to walk up to the altar, and you take the skull.
Anything on the skull that could be interesting?
Yes, it has karma on it, and the moment you touch it, you can feel you have power inside of your hand. You have access to karma. You can use the karma from the skull as if it was your own.
I didn't roll clairvoyance.
I know, but you can just feel it just by having it in your hands.
Gonna run
That's
away with
awesome.
it as nobody's seeing me so far.
Okay. You go back to the corridor where you were with your companions who are there, and
Tell the music.
Hmm?
Da-na-na-na. Tell the music.
And Isabel says, "Perfect. Now let's get the hell out of here." And you start to move away from this chapel, and then from behind you, you hear angry screams.
Oopsie.
Oh. Oopsies. Uh-oh, spaghetti-o.
What do you do?
Leave.
Run.
Okay.
Just book it.
Everyone roll for athletics as you try to run.
Okay.
That's like not my strength.
Yeah.
Athletic? Okay, you're probably gonna find me behind them.
Not much of a runner. Oh, God.
I'm really poor.
Oh, wow. Okay. At least they're not doing much better.
Well, let's just hide in coffins.
Hey.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Philip, you're speeding ahead, but behind you, the others are really having a difficult time.
The
being
one
fast.
old man is just booking it, and everybody else is lagging.
Exactly. We're going to say that Oliver's character, because he's not here today, Oliver's character ran off in another direction, and he'll spend the rest of this game session lost in the labyrinth. As you're, going deeper into this maze, Philip, you sort of have to wait for Eric, because Eric is the one who succeeded his check to find his way through the catacombs. So right now, Eric, I
And he
just
also
want
has the skull, so I'm not gonna leave him.
True. Eric, do you choose your light dice or your darkness dice?
Lights at this point.
Okay. Very soon, you see behind you the light of other torches, and you hear the screams of a Devoured saying, "Over here! I hear footsteps!"
Can I try to hide with stealth?
Yes, go ahead, roll for stealth. You find an alcove. There's a series of alcoves with statues, and you just hide in one of them and take a similar pause. What is Stefan doing?
Well, I will try to hide.
Okay, you can also roll for stealth. That leaves Philip. Philip, you could outrun your pursuers, but it would be at the
leaving my people behind.
yeah. So do you roll for stealth?
I'll roll for stealth.
Stefan,
Straight roll again.
Nice. Okay. So
Damn.
under the guise of the shadows, you try to hide yourselves as best you can, and the Devoured pass in front of Eric, in front of Philip, but then there's a coffin, and Stefan has hidden into a coffin, and there's a piece of clothing from Stefan that is, popping out, and the Devoured stop there, raise their short swords, and they are about to start destroying that coffin. There are two people. There's this woman, Janine, who was at the head of the group, and a man with scars on his arms. And the man asks her, what should we do, Mistress de Villefort? And she says, they must have gone this way, let's keep looking. And they're raising their swords while they're pretending that they're going to go in the other direction. Stefan, you're not aware of this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave my hiding place and gonna raise the skull. If you do that, I'm breaking this.
Oh shit.
Janine hisses at you and says, don't. You. Who are you? How dare you steal one of our relics?
Honestly, I have no idea what to answer to this. Preventing you to gain more power. Gonna try this.
You are a Dalit. We shall not let you leave this place after such a sacrilege, unless if you give the skull back in one piece.
I'm gonna take a subtle look to Philip Hyde and gonna try to see if he's planning to do eventually something or.
Since I'm also well hidden, I'm gonna take this chance while they're caught off guard to. I'm just gonna jump out and straight attack and try and jab my sword at one of them and see if I can, even if it isn't lethal, at least just render them immobile.
Okay.
Hi everyone, and thank you for watching this video. If you want to be a part of this story, we are currently looking for more players and game masters to play new games in this setting and on this channel. You can also be a part of the story by having your face added to the cast of characters. I draw all of the images for this game, and you can commission me to make you into an NPC. If you like the style and you want a drawing like that of yourself, or if you want to contribute to the project, you can contact me through the links in the description. Finally, if you want to keep up with all of the adventures on this channel, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell button so you can get a notification each time we upload the next episode of this story. And it would be very nice of you to like and share the video to help this channel grow. Have a nice day, everyone.